Good afternoon. How are you diddling? Excellent. Me too. Thank you very much for asking. Welcome to Wednesday. It's midday and it's time for another episode of Dazed and Confused, my 3 times a week live show where I answer your questions and help you try and get started on that social media content creation journey. For those of you who don't know who I am and why you're tuned into this, well, I'm Simon Scholes and I am the founder and creative director of Perception Studios. We're an award-winning visual marketing agency and we help brands and businesses create content that helps them stand out on social media. Now, that could be video, animation, aerial work, video, all sorts of stuff, visuals, graphics, you name it. But a few years ago, it became very obvious to me that not every brand, not every business was in a position to have that content created for them. Basically, they didn't have the budget to spend on their marketing. But I still wanted to help these smaller brands, these smaller businesses, understand what they could do themselves for free. My second most favorite 4-letter word. So what I did was I sat down and went through a process that I had kind of done for myself, my own business, that I'd spoken about when I'd keynote spoken, that I'd taken from other people, bastardized a little bit, and I turned it into a book and I called it How to 9 Times Your Social Media. And you can still get hold of it now. It's available in the section below on Amazon for like 99p. It's a former #1 book. If you want to take anything out of that, not a lot of people do, but if you do, that's awesome. But anyway, you can go and get the book below. And it takes you through everything from planning your marketing all the way through to podcasting and anything else that could happen in between as well, just like doing live video and all that kind of stuff. And essentially how you can make your content work harder for you. Because one of the big things that we all struggle with is time. And that's kind of one of the things and one of the elements I want to talk about today on today's live broadcast. We're not going to talk about any specific day, but over this last year, I have given so much value, so much content to try and help you get started on your content creation journey. And I've worked with some amazing businesses as well over 2020. Some guys wanting video work, some people just wanting some consultation work, some social media work, all sorts of different kinds of stuff. And it's been really varied, really interesting. But one of the things that's been a very common theme is, number one, they don't have a huge budget to work with. So they don't have an in-house team. So they have to come to an external team to try and help them out, who can make things happen for them cost effectively. That's kind of been the big overarching thing. And they know they need to do social media and they find themselves always saying the same thing. I should have posted something then. I should have posted something there. I should have posted something on this day. I should have posted something across all my social media channels. But they never do because they've never got the content in place. They've not planned it and they're kind of on a bit of a hiding to nothing. So for once on this live broadcast, I want to sell you services, not necessarily what I do, but what you could go out and find, because sometimes there comes a point where you have to spend some money. You have to ask yourself this question. This year in 2020, have you sat down and consumed or created more content? Because it's been a huge opportunity for you to get your brand, your business, your name out there for everybody to see how amazing you are, the value that you've got to give. Yet I am seeing over and over again, especially in this run up to Christmas, more businesses either not creating any content, which is one side of the story, or creating loads of content and every single piece of it is them going, buy my product, buy it, it is here, buy my product, rather than actually giving an element of value and trying to create an emotional connection between a person and the person consuming your content. You all buy on emotion. We all buy on emotions. This morning, in fact, I didn't buy something because of the emotions that the person working where I went created. I went to a drive-through car wash. I was looking at the pricing on the board and there was no queue behind me. I wasn't holding anybody up. And the person who was running the car wash was basically almost screaming at me to move forward because he had another board near him there where I could read the pricing as well. So once I decided what I wanted, which I took a little bit longer to do, then I drove forward and then he started wagging his finger in my face and telling me how wrong I was, at which point I said, thank you, but I think I'll go elsewhere. Turned my car around and went elsewhere, left his plot completely. He lost a customer. just by the fact that the emotion he created by my experience was not a good one. So remember that people are buying on emotion. So if you're creating a bad emotion between you and them by constantly selling with every piece of content you're putting out, the chances are that even if they did follow you, they're probably either going to stop following you or continue to follow, but not even interact with your content, which is actually even worse. If they unfollow you, at least the algorithm just goes, oh, they've unfollowed, the numbers have gone down. So what? It's not great, but it doesn't then ongoingly see that person not interacting with your content. Whereas if they stay subscribed to you, stay following your content and don't interact, horrendous. So I want you to think seriously this year about the fact that if you are in that position where you're constantly selling or just not putting any content out at all, you need to sit down with either a creative agency or creative consultant. It doesn't have to be me. Don't get me wrong. This is what I do. This is what Perception Studios do. We are a visual marketing agency. We help brands understand what it is that they can be creating for themselves, what they can put out there that is content that will be continuous and regular and have consistency and an element of patience to it rather than sell, or absolutely no content whatsoever. But I am not saying you have to come to me to get this stuff done. What I am saying is if you are not creating content, or you are creating content, but everything is all about selling what you do, you need to sit down with a creative agency and spend just a little bit of time, a little bit of money with somebody. And if you can find them out there, find the agencies who are happy to give you 15, 20 minutes, absolutely free of their time on a quick Skype, Zoom call, whatever it might be. They can sit down, have a chat with you, tell you what they can offer you, maybe tell you how much things are going to cost so you get a good idea. And also, maybe give you a few hints and tips. A good agency will maybe look at some of the stuff you've done and go, you know what, that's good, that's really not. Or they'll look at stuff you've not done and go, oh my word, where's all your content? You're not doing anything. But I want you to come off the back end of this broadcast today, considering that you maybe need to spend some money. And I know the budgets aren't there for everybody. I understand not everybody has a huge marketing budget. You can find creative agencies out there and creatives out there who can help you create content for a lot less money than you think it's going to cost. Generally, when we approach people, because of some of the brands that we've worked with, they assume that the cost is going to be really prohibitive to having content created for them. And it's not. When you actually sit down and say to them how much it's going to cost, they go, oh, hang on a minute. Really? That's how much it... Really? They're expecting 10s, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50,000s of pounds, hundreds of thousands of pounds. And actually, it doesn't have to cost that. Now, don't get me wrong, you get what you pay for. And I'm not meaning in quality sense, but I'm meaning in the amount and all that kind of stuff. Us as an agency, the smaller the budget, we try and work to the budget and make it work as hard as it possibly can do. So you've got to understand that element of it. But it doesn't always cost a lot of money to get this stuff done. So please, if you are going to go rolling into 2021 and you expect big things and you want to do social media, but you know in your heart of hearts you're not going to do it yourself, then just spend a little money, just a little money to speak to somebody, or spend a little time to find those people who will do it for free and speak to them. As Ed is saying, you're telling people to spend money. Who is this and what have you done with Simon? I know, but it is so hard to see these amazing brands that are out there right now. And so many people are struggling. So many brands are struggling because they are either overselling or they're just not putting any content out at all. And they're expecting a miracle when they put a tweet out once a month, or an Instagram image once every 3 weeks, or an Instagram story once a year. It just doesn't work that way. Consistency is the key. And if you cannot put that into your diary to do it because you're delivering whatever it is that you do, or you're just too lazy to do it, then maybe you need to speak to an agency to help you out. And I'm not saying it has to be mine or me. Just please find someone local to you who can give you a bit of time, have a chat with you and see what's on offer, because it might be more affordable than you think. I know I always go on about doing stuff for free, and I will continue to go on about doing stuff for free because there are so many people out there who will put the effort in to do stuff for free, because free is great. But there comes a point where you have to ask yourself that question. If you're not doing it, why are you not doing it? And if you're not doing it because you just can't be bothered, find an agency who can, and they will help you take your brand to the next level. I feel like I'm going to sneeze. Anyway, right, shall we move on to the questions that have been coming in? Oh, dearie me, I am going to sneeze. It's one of those sneezes that's there, but it's not going to do anything. Really? Here we go. Oh, there we go. Excuse me. Right, that's done. Let's have a look at some of the questions. So, in response to what I've just been talking about, Paul has come up and said, so instead of going to an agency to help, should I just pay for a course to teach me what to do? So, depending on the course, yes, you could. You could download my book. It's 99p. It's effectively the whole process I used to teach on a course I used to run. And it's 99p. So it doesn't cost you really anything apart from 99p. Yes, you could go on a course and learn how to do this stuff. I know some agencies charge thousands of pounds for it. There's a certain agency from a guy who I admire massively, who charged £10,000 for you to go on their one-day course, and then the ongoing coach you as well. It's a lot of money. And if you don't have that cash to spend, then either sit down and learn how to do it yourself or go to an agency to help you out. If you're willing to put the hard work in, absolutely. Sit down and learn how to do it yourself. Don't pay somebody to teach you. The information's out there on Google. But if you know, and like I say, if you know in your heart of hearts you're not going to get it done, Paul, instead of going to an agency and then instead of paying for a massive course that you'll spend loads of money and then still not do the work, then just go straight to an agency to help you out. Hopefully that's helped you out a bit there, Paul. Karen has asked the question. I run a shoe brand that's done well towards Christmas, creating my own style heels. Where should I be promoting my products? Okay, if we're talking social media, then there's a few different places. You've got a very visual product. So what I would suggest is, number one, looking to see where your avatar is hanging out. If you've done well over Christmas, you know the type of people who've been buying your products. Take a look at those people who've been buying products, see where they're hanging out on social media. Where are they coming from to buy your products? Your Google Analytics will be able to tell you where they're clicking through from. Are they clicking through from Google? Are they clicking through from Google AdWords, in which case your AdWords is working really well? Are they clicking through from a Facebook page or Instagram or wherever it is they're clicking through from? See where they're coming from, see where your audience is hanging out, and then put the content, majority of it, there. But don't forget all the other platforms. Now, because you are a visual product, I would definitely obviously suggest Instagram. Hugely high female population on there and growing. Also, Pinterest, pretty much all female on there and still consistently growing. And if you are consistent on there, there's a really good chance of some organic reach. Make sure you put the prices of your products on the images that you put out, and there's a really huge chance that people will click through and come and have a look at what it is that you're offering. The other places I would suggest looking at is maybe getting some video content created with the shoes from an agency, or doing it yourself using your phone if you can, if you have the skill set. And creating some things like Instagram Reels, TikTok content, and then getting some really nice video content maybe created where it's not vertical, but it's landscape, and put that out on YouTube and then share that on Facebook and other places like that. So you should be everywhere, but really concentrate down on some of the visual sites, the Instagrams, the Pinterests of the world. Definitely, especially Pinterest, very female friendly, going to really do your brand a lot of good if you are consistent on there. Posting once a month, not enough. Once a week, not good enough. Every single day, new content needs to be going out on there. Okay, let's go back to the questions. Another question came through from Samantha. Okay, Samantha is just starting out in business as a carpenter. I've had a few business coaches approach me to help out. Should I take the plunge or not? I've not got a huge amount of income yet, and it would swallow a lot of this up. In which case, no, Samantha. I'm sure even a business coach would tell you not to spend every penny with them. And those that do are just after your money. They're not really all that bothered about actually coaching you. What I would suggest is sitting down and reading and learning more about business. What do you not understand about business? What is your weakness? Where are your gaps, as George Swift would say, who I had on my live the other week? What are the gaps in your business? And fill those gaps either by outsourcing somebody to come in and help. So if you're not great with numbers, you're not very good with your bookkeeping, then hire a bookkeeper, because your time is probably more valuable and precious spent elsewhere working on your business. Especially as a carpenter, it can be quite a lucrative business if you get it right. What I would definitely say is you need to be looking at the content side of things, putting loads of content out, before and afters, you making stuff, how certain types of joints actually work, how you would hang a door. All these types of things I think would be a really great way for you to build an audience who might be really interested in watching what it is that you do. I think carpentry is a really interesting area at the moment. A lot of people go through home improvements, having their gardens kind of decked and made to look nice, because we've all had this strange year where we understand that our homes and the outdoor space that we have is mega valuable to us. So we're trying to make the most of it. So how can you help people make the most of their outdoor space, their home space, make it look really cool? So that's the kind of stuff I would be concentrating on content-wise. Business coach-wise, no, don't spend all your money on a business coach right now. There's a lot of stuff you can learn online. Go and follow some of the more renowned business coaches out there. And I don't mean go and spend money with them. I mean, just go and follow their free content, see what they've got to say. Go and find stuff out. Go and follow some of the action coaches out there and the free stuff that they're putting out. You don't have to go and spend money with an action coach or a mindset coach or a business coach when you don't have very much income, because it will swallow it all up. That would be stupid. You've got bills to pay. You've got a life to live. So I would say no, not right now. But maybe when you get to a stage where you are making a little bit of extra money, you can sit down and have a chat with somebody and just see what they've got to offer. And yeah, just say to them, look, this is what I'm earning. Be honest with them. Just say, this is what my income is. This is what you're going to charge me. Why should I come with you if it's going to swallow up most of your income? Definitely. Okay, let's have another look here. Let's see what's going on. And that's coming from a guy who, by the way, works with a lot of mindset and business coaches. So, yeah. What's the best way to try to get your audience to jump over to other social media platforms you're using and build up a nice following all over your social media pages? So getting your Facebook audience to jump over to YouTube as well and see your content on Facebook. I hope that makes sense. It does, absolutely. And it's almost damn near impossible unless you've got a huge audience, and I'm talking millions of people following you on one particular specific platform. It's going to be really difficult to build a huge audience also on these other platforms just by saying to them, please come to my other pages, because essentially you're probably going to post the same content there. So you need to make those pages special, perhaps, by posting different content on there. So in your case, Ed, obviously you create a Leeds United podcast. So if you perhaps get an interview with a Leeds player, then you post that on YouTube and draw people across with little teasers from your Facebook to YouTube. So if you've got a bigger audience on Facebook, use those teasers and go, look, I spoke to X this day. Here's a short snippet. Do you want to see the full interview? Well, come and subscribe to my YouTube page and you can watch it over there. That's how I would try and work it. That's how I would try and build an audience elsewhere, by teasing them with other content that they can go and watch in full on another platform. The other thing is like I say, ask. I mean, if you've got a huge audience in one place, you just tell them, look, I've got a Facebook page. Have you come and followed it yet? There's some really cool stuff on there. Have you followed my Instagram page where I'm taking photos and doing short videos and Instagram stories when I go to games and stuff like that? Because I'm one of the few people who's been able to get tickets to go to football matches recently. That kind of stuff would be really interesting to people. But always mention it. It's like coming off the back end of doing a video or a podcast and not asking people to subscribe. So why would they subscribe? You've got to lead a horse to water. You can't make it drink, but you've got to lead the horse to water as best as you can. So yeah, and one of my teachers used to say, when you're writing a piece of content, try and make it so simple that even aliens could understand it. So I treat my content exactly the same way. And aliens watching this, they kind of understand what everything does, but they need guiding to do it. So at the end of this broadcast, I will say, if you want to subscribe to my content, that's how you do it. Simple as that. Just make it easy for the aliens to understand what you want from them. Okay, right, 20 minutes. That's us done. I'm going to disappear. I'm going to go and drink my coffee. I'm going to go and have some lunch. Obviously, I will not be around on Friday. It is Christmas Day, so I won't be here. But there will be a podcast going out on Friday with a very special guest presenter. So if you're not already subscribed to my podcast yet, the link is in the section below. Go and subscribe to that on iTunes or whatever other podcast platform that you want to actually use. Go and subscribe, and you will get to hear who my special guest is and what they're talking about on Friday. But until then, thank you so much for the last year. I will be back again next week with some more content, although I am on daddy daycare duty until the new year. But until next week, have a wonderful Christmas. And hopefully you're going to get some time with your family, be it in real life or on a Zoom call or a Skype call or however you're going to do it. And until next week, have a fantastic Friday on Friday. Have a great rest of your Wednesday. And until then, stay safe and have a good one. Bye.